In this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 easy, simple steps to become confident as someone who really wasn't as confident as I wanted to be at any point in my life, literally almost ever. But then when I was, literally, you could never take away the confidence that I grew. So the 3 steps are basically going to be related to internal, so our internal confidence, then like external motivators, where basically, other people were getting the confidence from their validation and how to manage that and how to handle that. And then the third, it's going to be pretty obvious once we go over these first two. So, starting with the internal part, really to understand this, it's going to be looking at what is the external part. So, in other words, the inverse. Let's say that traditionally speaking, right? You got a fancy watch, you got a Lamborghini, you got like all these external validators where that could give you confidence because maybe you're wearing a brand name, whether that's Gucci, Louis, Dolce Gabbana, Bulgari, Prada, etc. So a lot of people, they leverage these kind of status symbols to say like, hey, I have this. And if they have it, they may feel confident more about themselves, but really from a pure human standpoint, that's really to show others that, hey, like I'm confident in myself. And what that really means is it's not that you're not confident when you wear those kind of logos or brand names, but it's really asking the second question of, are you internally confident if you didn't have these items? And that's what really the true confidence and the point of this video is to say that, okay, externally you can fool anybody basically, right? And even the richest of the rich, they may know, okay, yeah, I know the brand name, I know what it is, but in the end of the day, are you confident in yourself is the true question. So from an internal standpoint, when I was younger, I would be basically with the biggest headline being that I went to 13 schools before I graduated 12th grade. Now, I wasn't a bad cookie or anything like this. We just moved around a lot growing up. Why this matters is I had this tendency to basically people please and just kind of try to fit in and make friends and kind of, be a part of the lot, just a part of the group, if you want to put it like that. What happens here is I was basically just, trying to say the few, kind of beginner things of, hey, like, like, what's your name? What do you like to do? Like those type of intro questions just to kind of fit in slash introduce myself by being inquisitive about the counterparty, not to be fake but just to ask literally like, hey, what's up, and kind of be social in this manner. In the beginning, you're just younger, and unless someone says like, hey, go up to that person and go talk to them and kind of teaches you how to do this, you're kind of just navigating your way. And because I had to do this again and again and again, and each time you get the same kind of result at a high level, where it's like, all right, cool, hi, okay, your name's whatever, Billy, and oh, you like to cook, in your as a hobby or something, right? Like after that, what else, right? Like how do you get deeper in this? So that confidence, I realized I was like, man, like all these other people that are like jocks or like other people are, they're so like cool, right? And people gravitate towards them. And I didn't put two and two together that like it's not because they're a jock, but it's because of that status or that symbol, and in them also being able to back that name or label of jock, or hey, I'm a football star or whatever, right, in high school. I realized like, okay, this is how this is working because they're already confident. It's maybe they're more mature, maybe not, but confidence screams confidence. As someone who wasn't as confident, like how I got to the next step was basically seeing like, okay, other influences in my life where, hey, this person walks into the room and the whole room is, they just start laughing, giggling, because they know this person has something to say that's funny. When I saw this kind of trend with a certain individual, I was like, wait, if this is what it is, like I want to be like that. And the next step for me was figuring out, okay, so I see what they do. They walk in, they kind of say a joke, and everyone laughs, and then there's kind of a joke within a joke, and like a next step, and it's basically just bringing everyone together just by being themselves, and that's the key. It's literally that, as we probably heard it, being authentic to yourself. Just do what you're doing, and you'll attract what you're looking for, like all these things. So some cases people may consider this all like woo woo, like manifestation. What is this? But what I can say confidently, pun intended, from what I've learned is that, hey, once you're confident in yourself, whatever that is true to you. So for me, if you ever meet me in person, I'll be cracking jokes. I consider myself a funny guy, and I get the same feedback. And how you can prove to yourself, like, are you internally confident? Like, is there something that you're skilled in, something that you want to talk about all the time, something that basically relates you as like, hey, you're a real person, you're a real human, and you're not here to just join the party. You could be maybe even the life of the party, depending on what that is. And for me personally, one of the skills that I had when I was younger, and I still have the skill, it's beatboxing, making music with your mouth, which just like rapping or singing or dancing, when you're younger, people be like, oh, you beatbox, like show me this. And I would do it for myself, but then people would ask me to do it. And then that became a cycle of going from this internal thing I was doing and I was already confident in it. Then I was getting this external validation because it piqued people's interest, where it wasn't like, yo, look at my cool watch. And every day I'm like, yo, I'm not even wearing a watch, as you can see. But it's like every day I'm like, like, oh, look at this cool watch. What do you guys think of my watch? What do you guys think of my shoes? Like, you can do that. But unless you have infinite money or people have infinite time to give you the validation, it's like a lost cause because you always need the new thing, the new novelty, the new phone, the new something to be like, wow, he's so cool or they're so cool. Point of everything here is that the 3 easy steps are what? Just understand first for yourself, what is that thing? Like, what is the gap between where you are now and what is the next step? And let's just say you have no confidence skills, whatever, like you're so deep in, the dirt or the rut or the hole of whatever, right? And you're stuck. So I'll dig you out. Here we go. You're unconfident. You kind of have, let's say, there's physical parts of it. So, the parts that we probably heard, hey, you have slouched shoulders, stand upright, talk with a certain deep voice like this to show confidence, like, right? So there's that physical outward kind of thing. But for me personally, I would say a lot of it is just in your head, where if you literally know how to master any skill, I have a video on the channel, I'll link it over here. If you look at that kind of way to master anything, it's the same thing as confidence. It's the first step of understanding, like, hey, if you don't know how to be confident and people just think confident people are just like boasty and they just talk loud and they talk over people and they talk a lot and they're so annoying and these people suck. There's a reason those people exist. And maybe they're not confident in themselves and maybe they're using that as a psychological way to say like, hey, I'm the loudest in the room, so I'm the biggest shark, the biggest kahuna, I matter. And in that kind of way of portraying themselves, it may scream that, hey, maybe they're not that inconfident, maybe they're insecure and they need this validation. And that's why when you get to the highest strata of individuals, how I'm talking right now, this isn't me. This isn't me being fake, rather. This is just me being myself, where you're calm, you're collected. The other side can see this person is looking straight into my eyes and they're just talking to me with no other type of thing. They're just here in the present. And imagine how confident someone has to be able to do that. So I challenge you basically to say, if you had to, as simple as it is, stare into someone's eyes for 5 seconds that you just meet, don't be creepy, right? But that shows like, hey, you're able to literally say that I'm comfortable in myself and now I'm looking outwards, versus the unconfident people will always be the spotlight effect of, oh, everyone's looking at me. Oh man, I have something on my shirt. Like when I was, before I recorded this video, I had some like stain or something somewhere on my shirt. And I was like, all right, well, what can I do about this? And I was like, well, I really don't even know where it is again. It's somewhere here. Probably you can pause and look for it. But that's not even the point. The value of this video is not to say, oh, it's me and I'm not presentable enough and blah, blah, blah. It's the inverse of how can I give you the value? So whenever you realize that for yourself, what do you want and is confidence related to it? Chances are, in most cases, it all comes down to confidence. Because if you don't know something, you're not going to be confident. So you don't know how to kind of get to the next step or do the next step or even what is the next step. And so the inverse of that is just understanding the lay of the land. Confidence is basically the inverse of saying, hey, no stress, no anxiety. Means what? It means you're basically not in the negative side of the feelings. You're could be hopefully in the positive side in terms of max confidence. So it's just a mental game. That's pretty much the truth. And once you have that internal kind of side, controlled or otherwise, guess what? Go wear your Louis, Gucci, all this stuff. Because when you do wear that, and for my specific example, if I wear that today, I actually don't like it. It's a certain level of who I am and stuff. But what I don't like is like it speaks before myself because I am my own brand. I'm confident in myself. You know, I bet on myself. I'm willing to take risk on myself. That's me. Like I'll be out there, there's an expression. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, I think it's called, where like my heart's on my sleeve, like I'm just out there. And that's really what connects everybody out there. And if you're just a major, we'll watch my language, but if you're just a major, Richard is the formal name, right? If you're just like that type of person, people don't like that. You could be the most confident person, but the most confident people, like someone like myself, for example, I'll look at that and be like, I don't even want to engage with that individual because what is there? Is it two people just stroking each other's egos? Like, I gain nothing from that because I don't need to be that person. I already am that person. And I don't wait for people to come to me like some guy who's like, oh, I'm the alpha and people come to me. Do they come to me? Sure. But am I waiting for them to come to me? No, I'm not like, oh, people aren't giving me attention. Like, I suck. So am I as confident as I thought? Like, I don't have a second part of that. I'm totally okay in my head alone. And that's really the key for you to become confident if you aren't already. So with that, thanks for coming to the end. Subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.